Greetings and thanks for being with me today. Today will be a different story. We are not going to talk about software. We are going to talk about hardware. And this time we'll be talking about cameras. This is a camera which is basically 250D that I got a couple of days ago. I have been trying it out. And then I thought, why not put a tutorial on how to use, to show you some of the pictures or capabilities of this camera, 250D Canon. In some places it's called SL3. If you search on YouTube, it will be SL3. And there are other videos that talk about this camera specifically, but I would like to talk to you about the history of cameras that I had before, and also how I use them in my work. As a researcher, I do most of my work outside, not indoors, not in the labs. More than 80% of my publications are actually outdoors. And so I use photography to document my experiments, to do my, actually monitor, follow up on trees and the plants on what needs to be done. And so I will tell you what I have been doing and how to use photography as a tool for your own documentation and experimentation and research. So let's go through the cameras that I had before I get this one. And also at the end of the video, I will just put a whole bunch of pictures that I use, so you can see the automatic output of this camera, so whether they are photographs or video, and then you decide if this is really a camera that you would like to have. It's really an entry-level camera, very low cost compared to the DSLR. This is actually the first DSLR I get, and so it will be very helpful for you to see the kind of photos you can do with this. I took it before sunset, and I'll show you some of those photos and videos that I have taken with this one. Before this camera, I had also a Canon, but it was a Powershot 35X optical zoom. You're probably aware of that. I've been using that for 15 years. And before that, I had Olympus ultra zoom. So I'll show you these two cameras first, and then I'll show you the pictures and the videos from this new Canon 250D camera. Then you decide if it is suitable for you, for your own work, or for your own documentation and research. Let's get to it, and then stick around so you can see more of this. Okay, so this is actually my first, I would call it my first digital camera that was usable actually in the field, and I have used it for a long time to record all my data and all my experiments. This is probably the first. This was released by Sony. It's Camedia C2100. It was called Ultra Zoom. It was released in 2000. It was the only one that had 10x at that time. So it was, as you can see, still usable. It's still very usable, and it has, this kind of. You see how huge is how far we came, and this is actually only 128 megabyte card. This is the card that we used for this camera. And so it was very useful, actually. It has all these outputs. And if you read about this camera, you just search for Camedia C2100, you'll find out it has a mic input, which is very interesting, right? And it has also a USB. USB is the first generation of USB at the time. And it has, of course, a video audio output. There was no HDMI at that time. It has built-in mic as well. And it was very versatile. It has a flash here on its own. You can see the flash right here. And so it didn't have a hot shoe at that time, but still was very useful. I had this polarizer filter on it because I recommend, this is one of the things that we start off with, is that you need ND filters and also polarizer filters. These are two things that you will have to have with whatever camera you have when you photograph outdoors with these kind of cameras. So I always had those with all my cameras. This is still actually functioning, and I saw in YouTube You could use it even for infrared imaging. There are people still using it because it had that sensor during that time. It is very versatile, very useful camera. And so it is. This is my first camera, which is Olympus Camedia C 2100 zoom. The batteries those days were not like now. They are just regular battery, chargeable batteries that we used to have, and this is the charger actually that came with the camera. And so these are normal, regular batteries. Before there was the lithium-ion batteries that we use now. We use these kind of batteries. These are chargeable, and even Camedia itself has its own sets of batteries at that time. So this was my first camera, and because of the zoom, I was so much impressed and interested in it because, as you can see, trees are huge, and so it's very difficult to climb up a tree. But when you have a camera with 10x zoom, it will allow you to do much more. And this was released in 2000. I got it, that means 20 years ago. So I got it around 2002, and I have used it during my PhD studies in Florida. So this was my first camera that I've been using in the field. It has been very useful and still functioning until today, although I'm not using it anymore. I still have it as a legacy camera for all my work. Okay, so this is my second camera, which is a Canon Powershot SX30IS. I got this camera because it can it has a zoom that is like 35x. That's optical zoom, and it has beyond that for the digital zoom. I don't recommend using digital zoom, especially for documentation, for research and plants, because the pictures beyond the optical zoom become distorted. So if you wanted an extra zoom, you probably can have 2x optical filter, or yes, you can install in the lens itself. But 35x for me was very useful and helpful. I have been using this for this came out in 10 years after the first one, after the Olympus. So about 2010, I had it for almost 8 years now. It has been very versatile, very helpful to document all my research work. And mainly that is because of the length of the zoom. As you can see, it goes to 840 millimeters. So that is 35x, very large zoom. And the picture quality is superb. The video is also good. It has a HDMI, mini HDMI out, but that's only for displaying the photos and the videos on larger screen like a TV. It has a USB port, of course, that is useful for transferring your files to your computer. But beyond that, it does not connect directly via this mini HDMI to your computer. Otherwise, it has a huge range of functions, from macro photography to all the way to micro photography, and very wide angle actually for photographing scene. It has also swivel monitor here, so you could use this. You can either use the viewfinder, or you can use the digital viewfinder like here in built-in. So it's very for selfies and so on. It's very helpful. Also, when you are up taking up trees at high level, you could do it. You can record video right here. Very simple, straightforward. And of course, it has the flash and a hot shoe. So this camera, which I've been using for more than 8 years now, and took thousands of pictures with it in a variety of situations, have been very helpful, and I'm still using it. Still a good backup camera. But the only problem with now I'm facing, this does not record HDMI. It doesn't record full HD. It's only up to 720. And also it doesn't record 4K video. It doesn't have HDMI out. So I cannot use this on a laptop, for example, or in any other situation. The camera, of course, is not a DSLR. It's a fixed camera. Fixed lens. So I need to go beyond this, and that's the reason. But I like Canon a lot. I don't know if Olympus produces any more DSLRs, but what I know, even Nikon now is gone. So we have only stuck with Canon and Sony. And since I use Canon, I went and bought the next, like the futuristic, the first DSLR I will ever had, and that's what I will tell you about in the next segment of this video. By the way, if you have any experience with any of these cameras, or if you have any comments on them, or any recommendations, please have your comments in the comments below this video. Great. Now to the camera, the first DSLR that I ever had. And I wanted it an entry level so I can learn the tips and tricks. Actually, that Canon Powershot allows you to manually adjust the aperture, the shutter speed, even ISO. It has priorities, it has scenes, so you could probably learn there. But I wanted to learn on using different lenses. As you can see, this is a DSLR, so this is really what, like the most I can get from digital cameras. So here I am with my DSLR. Now the task will be buying new lenses, because if you wanted to photograph a landscape scene, you will probably want to have a wide angle lens. Also, if you wanted a zoom just like that one, the 35x optical zoom that I had in the Powershot, now I have to buy a third lens. So this is why I have been avoiding using DSLRs and rather go for a Powershot that has everything built in. It's easier when you travel and when you go abroad. But now it's time for an upgrade, so I decided to go for this one, an entry-level camera. I've seen reviews on YouTube, and you can find tons of reviews on YouTube of this camera. It's very helpful too, and I can also use it for recording videos for YouTube as well, aside from this Logitech webcam. So that's why I went for this one. So this is the latest. It has everything I need, which is lacking in the Canon Powershot, mainly the 4K videography. The DSLR, I can change the lens as much as I want, and also it's a Canon, so I couldn't go wrong with Canon. It has the same, just like that one, the rotating viewfinder. It has digital viewfinder. It has also the viewfinder here. It has a hot shoe. Some of these entry-level cameras, smaller ones, would not have that. It has a flash built in. So it has all the presets that I need for manually controlling everything on this camera. So this is really very useful and very nice camera. It has everything in this viewfinder, where you can have all presets. Everything you need to know about presets is all. It helps you actually take better photos. So if you wanted to choose a scene, you can just choose a scene, and then you can see that you could choose to shoot whatever you want, a landscape, people. Here is a landscape, for example. It's all built in. Very simple, very straightforward, very versatile. So that's why I went for this one. So because I just got it 2 days ago, I decided to take it out for a shoot and see how it works. And now I'm going to show you how the pictures and the videos of this camera are like. This is the default kit lens that came with it. It's 18 to 55 millimeters. So it has image stabilizers. Imagine even that Olympus 20 years ago had image stabilizer. So it's not something new. It has also autofocus. So for me, nothing has really changed except the pixel or higher resolution images and sensors. And that's why I'm not going for expensive cameras. I'm going for entry-level camera like this one, because I really believe that the best pictures come from the photographer, not from the camera. So when you are out there, what you need to do is to compose the pictures. Look what you need, basically, because the output, the final product, the picture itself, is what you see, what you dream of. what you wanted to show others, or you want to use in a paper or a publication. And so you keep that in mind when you try to compose the pictures, and take as many pictures as you want. Since I moved from film to digital, I had no issue with the taking many pictures. The limitation is only the battery and the card, the storage card. And these can, you can expand, buy as many as you want, batteries and cards as a backup, because that's your only limit. The rest is all in your imagination. That is not to say that I am not using a phone. Like, I've been using my cell phone for the longest time, all my phones. I use mainly iPhone, but I also use other phones, Android. I don't care really about the operating system as much as I care more about the photographs when it comes to photography. I also use special situation cameras like the GoPro. I had this GoPro Hero Plus. I think this is the second generation of GoPro. And I had also GoPro 5, Hero 5 as well. Now I'm using that as a webcam as well. So I just tested it and it works. So these are versatile, as you know, for sports, for outdoors, for rough conditions, that these other cameras cannot be used. Underwater, for example, I've taken tons of underwater pictures and videos with this camera, more than you can imagine. This is also another heavy duty for hard rough work. As you know, this is a Pentax WG2. It's GPS built in, and it is very hard. You cannot go wrong with these cameras if you are working in conditions that require tough cameras. These and the GoPro are your best companions. Nothing else will work for you better than these two. So the conditions where you work, the field conditions especially, the landscape itself, dictate the difference between using a camera with all the options and all the luxuries and a camera that is functional. It will give you the pictures that you just wanted, and you just run away from that scene. That's basically the difference between all these cameras. So you can have as many as you want. Your phone is a great, has built in a great camera. Your DSLR is good for artistic value and also for documentation and high quality production of photographs. But don't forget, don't limit yourself with one thing. Keep your mind open, keep all your options open, and these cameras are usually available and they are reasonably priced. They are not really expensive and anyone can use them. I just realized that this video has taken quite a bit of time, more than 10 minutes, so I decided to split the test video, Canon 250D SL3 camera video and photo test, in a subsequent video. I called it part 2. So once we are done with this video, see the description box below for the link to that video, or also wait until the end to see a card that takes you directly to that video right after this video. Thank you for following. If you have any comments or suggestions on best camera, best practices, please leave them in the description box below. And also, if you like this video, please hit like and support us by subscribing to this channel. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Take care for now. Goodbye.